lunch session today. Again, welcome to Dom, who's sitting at the back. He just kind of went back in. He is head of marketing for Red Bull in South Africa, and also has been very instrumental in making sure that we get to the point that we're at as Red Bull Motivo. So shout out to Dom. Thank you. And he's quite an amazing guy. If you want to get to understand the industry, he's been in quite a lot of industry. Funny enough, if you want to know a lot about agriculture, you actually need to talk to him. He's got green hands. But also today we have, I think I've been waiting for the session for quite a bit. William on the couch, or the friend Mashudu is going to be just running the moderation. I think what we want to probably pick up from here is just resilience and how to, live beyond your story, and just how to create and find solutions for African problems. So without saying too much, I'd like to hand over to Mashudu. The mic is there.
Cool. Hope everyone's feeling well. I just want to start off by saying thank you so much to Red Bull for always empowering creatives and innovators. And it's not always the traditional stuff, right? So with you guys, it's social entrepreneurship, but for me as a creative, it's been the most amazing thing to see the sort of work they've done, and they continue to do. And then secondly, thank you to Sisanda, who's been the most helpful person. I know you guys saw how well she does this. So all I'm going to do is try and be a very good intern for her. So unlike every other interview I've ever done in my life, so I've been doing podcasting and speaking to entrepreneurs and living the life of startups and small businesses for, say, 8 years or whatever, but podcasting for the last 3 years, I've never prepared for an interview. So it's just natural. I love to talk about business. I love to talk about startups. I love to talk about people creating and making things. It's just who I am. So I've never prepared until today, right? And it's because this is such an incredible story of someone that, I'd say a month ago, I didn't know about, right? Mainly because we understand what we understand around us. And we learn what we learn from around us. Someone mentioned something that completely blows you away. It's why didn't I know this? And how powerful is this, right? So we're going to start off by playing a clip that shows William's story very quickly, and then we'll shoot right into it.
How does it feel? I never went to secondary school. Make us proud.
Hey, looking sharp, man.
You too, man.
Katakolo is not the wealthiest school in the district, but it's down to each one of you to decide your own level of commitment.
The rains came late this year, and now the trees are gone. Malawi is preparing for a very long hunger season.
What are you going to do?
Anything new?
It's a bomb.
Can you fix it?
Maybe. Mr. Kachibunda, when you turn the window of your bike, the light shines. How?
It's madness.
I can bring water. I know how to do it.
We stay, we die.
No. With electricity, we can plant in the dry season.
Marusi, Azali Kariti.
sat next to someone that has a movie about them. But I just want to tell a very short story about just how humble he is compared to all that he's done, all the things that have happened in his life. Yesterday, we were just chatting about how I've never really traveled throughout the continent, and like I don't really know any people. And I was telling him, I was like, you know, I only actually have one friend in Kenya. And the first thing he says was, now you have a friend in Malawi. Like, this is who this person is. And I think that for me was just like, okay, I'm gonna start now before I cry. Okay. Okay, so just what was the experience like growing up in Malawi? I think like inventors, creators, innovators, they're very much shaped by the environments they grow up in. Like, what was that experience like?
Thank you. It's really a great honor to be here this morning. Thank you for having me here. Growing up in Malawi, I grew up in a very small village. I grew up in the family of 7 children. I'm the only boy in my family, so growing up, life wasn't too easy for me. All my sisters, they had each other. If I'm trying to play with them, they'll be like, go find your fellow boys to play. So, but I had to deal with them. I say, whenever they get into a fight, I say don't bother me because you told me I shouldn't be playing with you. So whenever they got into a fight, I say go do your solve your problem. And so when I was growing up, I used to help out with my family on the farm. We used to grow tobacco back in the days. So for me to start new creation, I grew up in a very curious way. I was very curious starting at a very young age. I remember when I was between 4 and 6 years old, I thought that inside the radio, they're small, tiny people who speak. One day, I took one of my parents' radio. I opened it. I wanted to say hi to the people who speak something. But I was very surprised to see very tiny things. Being a kid, there was only one way to tell. I was if I pinch one of it very hard, they're gonna be screaming, say leave us alone. But that never happened. So from there, I started removing one component after another. I listened to what was happening, and I was able to learn how to fix radios. So that's how I started. My curiosity helped me to be able to learn about different things. I remember asking people, how does the car work? They said, you just start the engine, you put up fuel, or you start the engine. I said, I know, but how does that turn the wheels to land and be able to drive? Nobody could really tell me. So that curiosity, when I was growing up, I think in the environment where I want to get answers for everything that I have around me.
Do you think that's just how you were brought up? Where does that curiosity come from?
I think it also comes from for not having everything. So when I was growing up, I have to be making our own toys with my friends. We build our own cars. We be oh, this is Kamkwembe Toyota company. We are live competing with some of my friends. So from the point where you really don't have a lot, you are trying always to find what do you have around you that you be able to use to make to have fun with your friends.
Do you think having limited resources actually made you more curious and you want to create more solutions because of that?
Yeah, I think that really helped me apart from being curious, but also really trying to understand how things work and being able to use what I have around me really helped me with my friends to try to build up something that I can be able to use.
So I mean, for me it was poetry. So why was it science and technology and just trying to figure out the way science and technology works, and why was it that for you?
I think the curiosity part of really trying to understand things around me, that really helped me because whenever I see something new, I live immediately I'm trying to understand how does it work, because sometimes you have things that you can't really explain how it works, But for me, it's more of like, if this thing was done by a human being like me, then I should be able like to get understanding how is it like happening. That really helped me like on the science part, like to be able like to understand, and I can be able like to explain to people like this one is happening because of this, because of this. I think that helped me.
How were your parents like very supportive of you being so curious? Because I'd be angry if I found a broken radio. Like, what was your parents' support structure like?
I mean, like at the beginning, they were very, they were curious. They were not like little. They couldn't understand what I was like doing. When I first like broke their radio, because my first try, I kind of like completely like messed up with the radio. They were a little like mad. My dad was mad at me. But after like some while, like when I started like moving into like building like the windmill, that's when they started like a little understanding what I was like doing. But at the beginning, they were like just like curious.
So when you go through this process of building the windmill and trying to build this solution, like what did you go through emotionally to build it, but also what did it feel like when you actually had it up and it was working and something you had made was actually helping other people?
The process of like building it was very like challenging at the beginning because people didn't really understand what I was doing, and we don't have the way for windmill in Malawi. First, I had like to create a name for it. It wasn't like a name; it is more of like explanation what it does. We call it like magets ampepo. Magets, it's like electricity. Paper, it's a wind. So I call it like electric wind because the wind was making it like to generate like electricity. So a lot of people were a little like laughing at me. They thought like something was wrong with me. I remember my mother, she was very worried of me. She said, "You are no longer gonna find a wife because no one can want to marry a crazy person." At that time, I didn't have materials to build this windmill, so I was going to the junkyard. The junkyard was just next to the high school that I just dropped from. So I went there to collect pieces that I needed for my windmill. So people seeing me at the junkyard, they said, that must be like crazy because a normal person couldn't be collecting junk, putting it together, saying that they are building this machine that we even don't know and it doesn't even have like a name. That was like the challenge building it. But for me, I told myself, if this windmill exists somewhere in the world, it meant that a human being like me was able to build it. There's nothing that can stop me. So I was always like telling myself, if I fail, I'm not the first person to fail. People have failed like in the past, like you face like some challenges, but if you give up, then you are not gonna know what you are missing out without like trying. So I had like to just tell myself like I can still like do this and be little continuing regardless of what other people are saying around me.
Did you see yourself as an inventor at the time? Was it just crazy?
For me at that time, I was just like seeing that I'm building something to solve some of the problems that we are facing. So I was just like focusing on putting it like together to solve the problem, but I didn't think that one day when I was building, it would take me here, like I would be like sitting here, being like having like conversation with you. I didn't imagine that. I was just like doing it, saying, I'm solving this problem that we're facing.
How did you feel when you did it?
It was the happiest moment of my life when it finally like started working, because it not only like proved people that they were doubting me at first that they were wrong, but it also helped us like generating power in my village. So both of those like two things, it makes me like joy. I was very happy that it worked.
So how important was your journey through going through that in Malawi, and that whole experience of building Windmill and all of that? How has that contributed to the person that you are now and the work that you do?
It has like contributed like a lot to now, like doing like that process. It's more of it encouraged me like everything, like it's been like possible. No matter where you are, you like be able like to find like a solution to solve your own like problem. Sometimes you don't even have to wait for somebody to come in and solve your own like problem, but you should first like start on like trying to find the solution. Then other people might come along and help you. So that like just taught me like to take an action in everything that I face, rather than waiting for somebody to be able like to solve my problem for me. And I always like tell myself that every challenge, it's a solution. It's the opportunity. It's just like waiting for somebody like to come up with like an idea to solve that problem. You are like addressing the problem, but you're also creating opportunity for yourself or for your community or for a lot of people like around here.
So what role do you feel like education and the leadership academy that you attended, like what role do you feel it contributed to, where you are now?
It contributed a lot, like with my education, like studying at the African Leadership Academy, meeting with like the people from all over the continent, try like to learn from them, but also like sharing my own experience. I've learned a lot that it's like I understand how other people are doing like a similar way to solve some of their own like problems in their own like communities, like their own like countries, that I'm learning from them. I learn from them, but also like sharing my own during like that time.
So you spent half a year in the US and then half in Malawi. Do you feel like there is a pressure or responsibility that you carry, what you've learned and what knowledge you have, what experiences you have in the US back to Malawi as well?
Yeah, there's like, I think my long-term goal is like to permanently like move back to Malawi and to see, to use the knowledge that I have been like learning either in the US or interacting with people like you, like being like talking to a lot of people here, trying to see how I can learn from what some of the solutions that they are doing to take back it to Malawi to solve some of the problems that people are facing in like different like communities. I always wanted to share my skills and my knowledge with other people, rather than just like having it like to myself. That doesn't help out like anyone. So that's my long-term goal. It's to be able like to move permanently back to Malawi.
Do you feel a responsibility to do it?
I feel like I have like responsibility like to do it. It's because I also if I'm just gonna hold into it, like it's not like very like useful. But if I can be very helpful in my community or in Malawi in general, that would be great. And I love solving like problems. So I think it's not only like being like responsibility, but also being it's like the passion that I have. Like always, when I see that I can be able like to help out, I should always like be able to do that.
Do you feel like you see that in a lot of young Africans?
I see like there's a lot of people who are like very interested into creative in like solving like problems. Sometimes the only like problem is that there's no like there's not a lot of like the support network that is like needed in order for them to be able like to build up like the courage to be able to do what they are trying like to do.
I think you have such a remarkable story, and this one event, very early on in your life happened, and it's been sort of the narrative throughout your life. And people can tend to hold on to stories very much. Do you feel like it's been easy or difficult to build a new narrative for who you are now and the work that you want to do in the future?
It's like it is tough sometimes, but I think although like people really want to learn how I started because they want like to be inspired in what they are like trying to do, but also like they forgot that I'm like also like continue doing like different like way rather than just like doing being defined by only like one way that I did like long time ago. Right now I'm more like focusing. I'm working on like trying to put up innovation center that is gonna allow young people like me the way I was able to do the project on my own, but I know that there are so many talented young people all over the world. In Malawi, there's also like a lot of like talented young people, but because they don't have like a space and also like they don't have the network that they can be able like to support them to achieve their goals. So that's why I'm trying like to put up that innovation center that is going to allow young people to come and work with me. I'll connect them with the professional in the field that they are trying to work on, and giving them the tools that will be able like to support them.
Just going off of that, how do you see the landscape of innovation in Malawi and possibly across Africa right now, and what do you hope for in the future?
I think the skills are there, but the only like problem is like the space. Like people not really having courage for themselves to be able like to lift up, like to shine out with their like the skills. I think that's what is most lacking in most like parts of the continent. But I'm hoping that slowly it's like changing. I'm hoping that we're gonna be able like to come up with a solution that will be directly like addressing the challenges and problems that people are facing in different like communities. Because if you come up with a solution on your own, rather than waiting for somebody to give you like a solution, that will be it's most like useful, because you know you are challenged very well than anyone else. The outsiders, they might think that you have like the challenge, but they don't know the root cause. So by you having like a solution to make, you can be able like to have a solution that works quite well.
How do you think more people can tap into what you did when you were young at 14 right now to build things that matter and can actually have an impact on the continent?
I think one thing that people can be able like to get is like to understand that everything is like possible no matter where you are, who you are. You can be able like to achieve. No, you might face like some challenges, because that's the reality in everything that you do in life. You face some challenges, but sometimes maybe my challenge might be different from your challenge, from like somebody's challenge. But if you give up, you are not going to be able like to solve it, because all the people that they are like successful today, if you ask them at some point, they face like some challenge, and they didn't try like to give up on that like challenge. That's why they were able like to achieve what they were like achieved. So I think that's the only thing that people can be able like to relate or like to learn like from me, that at that age I faced like a lot of like challenge trying to do the work, but I didn't really give up. I just like trusted my instincts, like that I can be able like to do.
So what advice would you give to young Africans that see themselves as inventors or innovators to make the stuff that they really need to make and build things that matter?
I think one advice that I can give is that don't give up. Don't be afraid of like failing. You might start like designing or building like stuff. Like sometimes 1 out of 10 maybe you will be able like to succeed. Maybe 2. Sometimes maybe all of those only 1 like you'll be able to succeed. But knowing that you learn through mistake when you are doing like some stuff. So every like invention has like some areas, some technical areas that you might be able like to you might fail, but by not like giving up, because that's where you're going to be able like to you're going to be able like to learn it and being able like to perfect your design or your invention. So I think that's one thing. Like a lot of people are very like afraid failing. So by not like being afraid of like failing, that can really like help you to be able like to achieve what you are trying like to do. So if you fail, you're gonna like learn. You are not gonna start at the same place the next time. You'll be like, okay, this is where I failed. How can I be able like to work this system like allow me to like to address this challenges. So I think that's one of the advice that I can give. So you don't be afraid. And everything is still like possible in life.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cool. So we're gonna hand over to Q&A. So if you have any questions for William, please raise your hand, and this whole will be running around. Okay. All right.
Hello, complete inspiration. I just have one question to ask you though. How does it feel to have, to be able to have your story told through a film and, inspire so many people out there? I'm pretty sure that it's wow. That's nothing else I can say but wow.
I mean, it's very like exciting because when I was writing the book, I wanted to share my story with the rest of the world, and having a chance to have also like the movie made about my life, it's gonna even like reach more people that didn't have a chance to read my book. They're gonna be able to have a chance to watch my movie. I think by just like sharing my story with some people, I do get a lot of like messages from people all over the world saying that because of you, you inspired me. I was able to go back to school. I was able to get my engineering degree. Those type of like stories, you inspired me. I'm trying to do this in my community to solve this problem. What advice would you give to me? So it's just like to me, it's very inspiring that I can be able like to I have like the impact that I can have like in other people's like life to live like take the challenge on their own, like to solve their own like problems.
Thank you very much for the powerful talk. For me, I think I have just one question. So, when you were developing a concept, like people went to a point where they thought like you were intellectually retarded, and I would like to ask you a question. What message will you relay to the young people who are building this innovative concept, but then there's so much negativity around them in terms of people not believing what they're thinking or what their motivation is. And because I believe for us to reach that milestone, we need some motivation around us. People who can believe that whatever crazy concept that we have at some point in future, they might be realized.
Thank you. So for me also like one other thing that inspired me, also like encouraged me. I can say I got also like very inspired by my grandmother. In Malawi, there's this like division of labor. They say some work is meant for men, and some for women. One of the labor that people believe it's like for men, it's like making bricks. If you want to build a house, my grandmother started making bricks by herself. A lot of people asking her, why are you doing this instead of your husband? Her response little inspired me. She said, when you are caught fire, you don't wait for somebody to put it off. You're gonna feel the heat first than anyone else. So you're gonna be able to try to put it off, and the other people might see you that you are burning, and they can come along to help you put off that fire. That response really inspired me, because she was referring that when you're in trouble, when you have a problem, nobody else can know your problems. You know your problems very well than anyone else. But when you try to come up with a solution, then other people might be able to see you that you're struggling. They can come along and help you. So I think for young people that they are really trying to design or build, like being like inventing, first to be like understanding what challenge are you trying to address, and the little putting yourself that there's no one else is going to solve this problem, but it's only people going to be able to solve this problem. Having that mentality that I can be able to solve this problem, I think it's the way that you can be able to help out, not like doubting yourself that you can't do it, but you can still thinking that this is like possible for me to address it.
Hi, William, and thank you for such an inspirational story. My question is, after you built your first windmill, were there any other windmills that was that scaled across the country? And also, who was the person that recognized what the work that you've done and put you maybe on a platform to get the rest of your story out there?
I've been since my first windmill, I've been building several other windmills. My current windmill that I'm using is the vertical windmill, so it works with the wind from any direction rather than the horizontal that it has to pivot, change the direction based on where the wind is coming from. So I've done that, but I also teach other people around how to build their own windmill. So other people are building their own windmill, copying on my design. Some people in some other parts of Malawi as well. So talking about who I identified me, when I the first time I built the windmill, I built the windmill when I dropped out of school. At that time in Malawi, we were experiencing some hunger. That was in 2000 to 2001. Because of that, my parents didn't have money to send me to school. Secondary schools in Malawi, you have to pay for it, while primary schools are for free. So that was the time that I was supposed to start at high school. And when I dropped out of school, I was still thinking, what can I do in order for me to continue with my studies? Because I didn't want to become a farmer like my father. It's not that I didn't want to become a farmer because I hate farming. No, I love farming. But I didn't want to become a farmer just because that's the only thing that I can do with my life, which is the case to many people who are farmers in Malawi. I wanted to choose the career not by circumstances, but choose a career because of that's what I want to do. And I thought that education is the only key for me to be able to do that. So when I dropped out of school, I started thinking, what can I be able to do to continue with my studies? So I started going to the library. And at the library, I was reading books, mostly about science. And I found one book that inspired me to build the windmill, which had the picture of the windmill on the front. When I opened inside, they say, windmill, pump water and generate electricity. The word pump water, that's what attracted my attention. I said, if I can build a windmill to pump water, I can start irrigation instead of only growing food only one time a year. I can grow multiple crops, so we can solve the problem that we were facing at that time. And when I saw that book, I built the windmill. I didn't stop going to the library. I continued. One day when I went there, the librarian asked me, why do you always check out the same book? So I explained to her that the book inspired me, and the organization that started different libraries in different communities, they were visiting all the libraries to see. When they came to my library, the librarian taught them what I had done, and they were very interested to come visit my village to see the windmill. They saw it, they went back, and they come again a few weeks later. They brought some journalists. One of the journalists wrote an article about my work, and that article was picked up by one of my friends now. Once he saw that article, he showed to his friend, and his friend put that article on his blog. And one of the guys was organizing the TED conference, saw that blog, and they really wanted to invite me to the TED conference. But it was very hard to find me back then, at that time, because they had to contact the journalist who wrote the article, the journalists, when they asked, contacted the organization that brought them to my village. The organization that brought them to my village called the librarian called my cousin finally that cousin told me, so I didn't have like a cell phone. It was very difficult to get to me. So that's how I was once I was invited to the conference, that's how a lot of people approached me, asked me how they can help me.
Hi, William. I'm quite interested in your ALA experience. So how did they choose you? I guess maybe they saw you from the TED Talk, but how did ALA help you on the journey to where you are today? And also what I'm also quite interested in is that you're a young boy from a rural village in Malawi, but you are now studying you finished studying in the US. What was the support system and who was there to kind of help you on this journey and also help you in different cultures and environments, South Africa, the US, and that you were kind of able to stay on the path that you're on?
Thank you. So the ALA, when I went to the TED conference, also French Swaniga is the co-founder of ALA. He was also at the same conference at the same time. So when I spoke at the TED conference, that was like when the ALA was just like they were just like forming it up. So he said that we have like this school that will be opening soon. Once the school is open, we're gonna send you like the application form so that you should be able to apply. So once they started receiving applications, they sent to me the application, and I was able to apply, and that's how I get into LA. So my experience being at LA, it was very great because I was studying with the students from all over the continent. So learning from their experience, sharing my own experience, and also learning from them. That really helped me, prepared me on trying to go in a different culture. So throughout my time studying in the US, I think having those friends that I can be able to call from the school, or either some other friends from home, and I also had a very great mentor in the US that helped me, supported me in different ways that he helped me. I think from having a different culture in the US, I think LA prepared me in some ways because I was also, that wasn't my culture when I was here, but I was learning culture from different background. But when I was in college, it's more of listening in. I went there with open-minded, being I know I have different culture, but being able to understand at the same time to learn other people's cultures, and at the same time sharing my own culture. That prepared helped me to go through all of my experience.
Good morning. Thank you for sharing. Well, it's a good thing to have you in a movie. I will try to watch that. I think that is quite fascinating. So I'm half Zulu, half Malawian. My dad is from Malawi. I have half brothers and sisters, should I say, from that place. So I was just, because sometimes, I'm just observing them, like you as yourself, how were you able to pursue education? Because what I've observed is that they kind of it's like you go to school and then you want a wife.